Kim Yada Shima Shai, Barakatan, it's Brother Nation DC camp. Just to, share another quick lesson with the Akim, because it's important to get reminders about what's happening in the world. The video I got in front of you is just, one of the things folks in the world talk about regarding the 501c3 churches. So it says church members complain about collection notices, because, hey, folks out in the world, they have to deal with, the system of corruption, So that's exactly what the scripture talks about, man. How to flee the corruption of this world. So I'm just going to go ahead and play the video real quick, because it's important brothers have an understanding about what the world is all about, It's all about, the riches, being comfortable, unjust gains. So I'm just going to play it real quick and I'll bring up some precepts.
Right now, some members of a Tampa church are telling us they are fed up because their church is sending them collection notices. And as ABC Action News reporter Cameron Polam tells us, they're venting that anger in a very public way on the church's Facebook page.
People was very friendly there, and I really enjoyed being there.
Candace Peterson says finding the Greater Mount Moriah Primitive Baptist Church was a blessing. The single mother had been looking for a church closer to her new home, and 6 months in, things were going perfect. That is until this letter arrived at her home late last week. It was from the church, saying she was delinquent in her financial support.
$50 per month. Now, this shocked me because I haven't heard about $50 per month. So where did you get this from? Then Mount Moriah Day is on there, $150.
The letter also says Peterson would be responsible for a church anniversary fee of $250, a total of $1,000 in required donations per year. Peterson says she was told the fees help pay off church debt.
What church charged you to, help pay off what they're going through? I'm not there for that.
And many seem to be agreeing with Peterson, taking to the church's Facebook page to voice their concerns. A church administrator acknowledged the letter came from them. They also told us the pastor was unavailable. We still left several messages and have not heard back. In the meantime, Peterson is searching for a new church.
It's like you put me like, oh, if you want to be a member of this church, you need to pay this.
Or if you want to find God.
Yeah, if you want to find God. That don't say anything about that in the Bible.
And again, that was our Cameron Polam reporting. Peterson, meanwhile, says she has no plans to reach out to the church, and the pastor still has not responded to our calls.
So that's the issue, Cam. It's an old video, but at the same time, you gotta understand what folks in the world gotta deal with. So it's important, man. You don't neglect the lessons, man. So sincere and double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Grilled Millstone. Sincere Akim, being faithful and diligent. Just gonna go ahead and bring up some precepts. So it's not a joke, man. Doing the Most High's work. It lets you know that we're still under the curses. It's one thing the churches do not understand, man. So I get us the book of 2 Peter, chapter 2. Alright, I'll start from verse 1. So it says, "But there were false prophets among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who shall privily bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. And through covetousness shall they with vain words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation stumbleth not." So, the doctrine in these 501c3 churches is going to be, it's destructive, man. It's not of the Lord, It's of the lying spirit. That's why the folks, keep on having problems in all these churches, man. their soul is not being filled with the doctrine of life. It's basically a graveyard. That's why the men of the Lord on the highways and byways always debating, the so-called churchgoers, man. What they're being fed is not beneficial to them, man. The shepherd that's overseeing them, doesn't know exactly what he or she is doing. That's the mess up situation we gotta see our people in. It's all prophesied in the scriptures, man. The churches of this world, the 501c3 church, is way off. They're out of touch with the gospel and truth of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, So, let's get another precept here real quick. It's just Old Testament. Because you see the so-called black woman, she had to go to the news station to complain about what's going on in the church. But hey, she had to go to the slave masters, establishment just to put a church in order, to file grievances. That's messed up. Scripture talks about not going before the unjust. The wicked of this world to settle matters that are within the nation of Israel. But hey, it lets you know how far the nation of Israel has fallen, So this is Amos chapter 6. I was just talking about, how the nation of Israel is all messed up, man. Comfortable mindset. Alright. But the point is in verse 3 and 4. So it says, Ye that put far away the evil day, and cause the seat of violence to come near, that lie upon beds of ivory, and stretch themselves upon their couches, and eat the lambs out of the flock, and the calves out of the midst of the stall. Alright, so the lavish lifestyle of the officials in these churches, it's a testament, man, to what's going on in there, man. Because you understand that, there's a vibration they're under. They have no order. No other doctrine to offer the people but the prosperity doctrine, man. So go on YouTube and look up different searches about what's going on in the churches. Folks talking about the lavish lifestyles, man. The pastor trying to pay off his car notes of his expensive vehicle. Vacation trips. Things like that. It goes way deep, but for the sake of time, just stick with the topic and keep it brief. So this is a book of Malachi, chapter 3. Read of verses 5 and 6. So it says, And I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, against the adulterers, and against false swearers, and against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right. And fear not me, said the Lord of hosts. Alright. And then verse 6 says, For I am the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, change not, therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed, man. So the church is a den of wolves, man. Just eat up the flock, all day long. See what the congregation of the church has got to deal with, man. It's messed up. The neighborhood is messed up. Unemployment is messed up for them. Their health is messed up. The churches don't really do a good job in promoting the doctrines of the scripture, man, or how to eat right. They don't dig deep into that aspect. They're much more of a fundraising establishment. The doctrine that they need to be getting hold of, they're not really getting it, man. Yep. So that's why the Messiah says, His Lord Yahweh Shimashai changes not, therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. So, the ones that need to be delivered from that, the grips of this, these so-called churches, man, the Messiah's going to get them out of there, man. That's why there's always contention between the men of the Lord and these churches, man. Yeah. So now the church is feeling the heat. Coming against the doctrines of the scriptures, man, the way it's supposed to be taught the right way. And they're having a hard time, putting their argument together. They always got to twist the words of the scriptures, the understanding of the man of the Lord. They try every single gimmick, to confound people that come up to them with a legitimate question. Alright, so that's why, the Most High has no dealings with them, man. The Most High has already condemned the churches. Alright, so it's a simple reminder of what Yahweh Shai talked about concerning these churches. Just go back to John the 10th chapter and read from verse 11. Alright, so it says, I am the good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. Alright, that's very good example there, that sets the doctrine of Yahweh Shai apart from the doctrines of these churches, man. Because hardly will you see the so-called deacons and pastors and reverends and deaconesses, whatever positions they're in, they don't have that courage, man, because they're not rooted in this knowledge of Yahweh Shai. That's why they don't have what it takes to give their life in righteousness for the flock. Alright? And then verse 12 says, but he that is an hireling and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming and leaveth the sheep, and fleeth, and the wolf catcheth them and scattereth them. Alright. Verse 13 says, the hireling fleeth because he is an hireling and careth not for the sheep. Alright, so that's a problem, man. That's a problem with these so-called churches, man. They don't have that, that strength, to come against a system that's oppressive, man. The church itself is not, it's not of the Lord. Alright, that's why, they just go along with every policy the so-called government pushes, man. The so-called IRS pushes on them. They got to keep the collections. That's why they hold on to that tax exemption status. The doctrine they teach is so, it drowns the people out, man. It doesn't make the people lively. It's just things just keep the people's mind docile, idle. That's the problem, with Jake, man, Alright, so this is Colossians chapter chapter 2. I'll just start from verse 6. As ye have therefore received Yahushua Mashiach, the Lord, so walk ye in him, rooted and built up in him, and established in the faith, as ye have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving. So, the man of the Lord got to have faith, man. Faith is very important. It's that key element that we have to hold on to, man, when everything else is going sideways, things crumbling beneath. You just got to hold on to the words of Yahweh Shai, and verse 8 says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Yahushua Mashiach. So, the folks in the world, man, they have a hard time, man, snapping out of that mindset, man. Covered with a cloud of darkness. Alright? So when time to walk past the camp, it's hard for them to see the truth right in front of them. Because their eyes have been blinded You know, this church is just, suck away the spirit out of these people, man. You know, they think they're happy, but they're not. You know, they lack that, that ingredient, that reminds them of what their nationality is, their understanding of prophecy. It's sad. It's a sad state to be in, man. It's a sepulcher. So this book of Isaiah. Look at verse chapter 42, and all right. So verse 22 says, "But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for prey, and none deliver it, for spoil, and none saith restore." All right. So these churches are basically in like prison houses, man. Snared, also like traps. You got churches everywhere in the hood, but the hood is still the same. So much madness, man. So much madness in these churches. That's why, hey, we as prisoners of hope, we gotta get out of this place, man. It's messed up. Jake is not happy being on the plantation. How much more being a false sense of comfort in the churches, man. They say the music is good, but at the end of the day, the problem is still the same. The understanding hasn't been elevated. They're still in that bogged out mindset, Yeah, that's why the Most High is going to bring the correction, man. It's going to sift. It's going to sift the whole nation, out of the dwellings of these churches, man. So this is verse 20, chapter 29. Yep. Because folks always think that, whenever they're in these churches, that they're part of something great. But not really, It's just a waste of time. The men of the Lord on the highways and byways in GMS, they've been in these churches, and the Most High took them out of it, man. All right. Because, if you read, start from verse 10, it says, "For the Lord Yahweh Shemashai hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and hath closed your eyes, the prophets and your rulers, the seers had he covered." All right, so these churches, man, it's a place of blindness, man. Total blindness, total darkness. And the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, "Read this, I pray thee." And he said, "I cannot, for it is sealed." All right, so these folks in churches, man, they have no understanding of the scriptures, man. All they keep on saying is Jesus wept, They talk about the wealth, prosperity this, prosperity that, they give you a couple of precepts and they talk all day long, and then you hear a bunch of "Yes, Lord," every single second. And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, "Read this, I pray thee." And he said, "I am not learned." All right. Then 13 says, "Wherefore the Lord said, For as much as these people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but they have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men." All right, so that's why folks stay with these churches, man, because they have no other place to go, man. They're blind. They don't think about, asking the Most High to deliver them, from the snares of this madness. Yep, so that's the problem, man, with folks, man. They just want to go along, man, follow the multitude to evil. They're scared, of branching branching out, find the Lord in righteousness. Alright, so this is book of John, the second chapter. Start from verse 13. And the Jews' Passover was at hand, and Yahushua went up to Jerusalem, and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves, and the changers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them all out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money, and overthrew the tables, and said unto them that sold doves, Take these things hence, make not my Father's house an house of merchandise. And his disciples remembered that it is written, The zeal of thine house had eaten me up. Yep, so that's the example Yahushua is set up, for his apostles, on the highways and byways, doing his work in righteousness, man. That's the churches has become a place of merchandise, man. They have nothing to do with this serving the Most High. It's totally off base. It's not of the Lord. That's why the church is gonna keep them. This church is gonna have problems, day and night. It's a terrible place to be in. It's just a social gathering. Folks just come out to chill. There's no spiritual upliftment in the place. It's just a bunch of hot air. Hot air balloons in that place, man. So it's just simple, man. If you bring this doctrine to them, they're gonna turn around and give you a hard time. So it's not advisable, man. Men of the Lord spend time in these churches, trying to, just because family members ain't in there, that you two gotta go there with them. The Most High is gonna make that separation come to pass. So, the men of the Lord just have to understand that, the time, it's gonna be revealed when folks are gonna know how the true doctrine of Yahbashim Yahushua, that time is coming. So, it's gonna be evident. The faith of folks are going to be tested, when all hell breaks loose. The mark of the beast is going to come, to the forefront in everybody's face. The economy is going to collapse, martial law, you have the pestilences, you have the wars, the violence in the streets. So folks are going to understand what's going on, man, and it's going to be rough. So with that, say all praises and glory and honor to Yahbashim Yahushua, that brought us to elders and apostles of great millstone and sincere Akim. Stay diligent, stay focused. Beware of the house of merchandise, man. Hey, stay in the spirit. Shalom.